Hi, friend. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I will be sharing quotes and excerpts from some of my favorite books for the next few episodes. I invite you to listen along as we pull insights from these authors for a more intentional and fulfilled life. This book is titled Stand Out 2.0 by Marcus Buckingham. The subtitle is Assess Your Strengths, Find Your Edge, Win at Work. Here's an excerpt. Remember who you are. In a world that is too busy to really care about you and your strengths, the responsibility falls to you to apply your strengths consciously every day. Ironically, the unconscious nature of strengths, that you are most yourself when you vanish into whatever you are doing, makes this quite difficult to do. Yet, if you don't do it, if you remain unconscious and don't remember what your strengths are, you won't have a lifeline to grab onto when events conspire to yank, lull, or lure you off your strengths path. That was a tongue twister there. Michael is a good friend of mine, a musician of some distinction through college. He became a software engineer after graduating, writing code. Because he was good at it, hardworking, and reliable, he got promoted to team leader. Here, he also excelled. Michael is a brilliant explainer. Some people become impatient when new team members don't understand something. Not Michael. For some reason, the more difficulty people have understanding something, the more patient Michael becomes. He slows down to their speed and walks them through what they need to get step by step. In the language of stand out, his top two roles are teacher, equalizer. His team loved him. So he was promoted again, this time to project manager. Now he was being paid to run an entire project for his company, and the strengths required were very different from the team leader role. The two most important were first designing, testing, and redesigning the software as the project went along, which is a strength of a pioneer. And second, handling the client tactfully, which is the strength of a provider. Michael struggled with both. He's neither pioneer nor provider. He hated it when the software didn't do what it was supposed to do. Then, having the client see it not do what it's supposed to do, then having to charm his way through the meeting so that the client wouldn't feel panicked, and then having to repeat the whole horrible process at the next update meeting. Each time, the software wouldn't do something it was supposed to do, and each time it would have to find the right way to dance around it and put the client at ease. This might not sound like hell to you. You might embrace the inherent ambiguity in this kind of design and handhold as you go role, but Michael didn't. He was capable of it. He's smart, reliable, and hardworking, but it drained him. Day by day, it dragged him down slower and slower until one day he stopped altogether. In his words, one morning, I just couldn't put my key in the car door. That was 15 years ago. He hasn't worked since. They say that burnout happens the same way that bankruptcy does, gradually and then suddenly. This was certainly true for Michael. In the project manager role, he found himself day after day being asked to have strengths he didn't have. Gradually, he became weaker and weaker until one day he suddenly broke down. That day is where he is today. 15 years have gone by, and though he has fought hard, harder than I think I might have done if my life had emptied me out, he hasn't moved on. Recently, for the first time in a long time, he brought up that day when everything stopped. I just didn't have it, Marcus. I didn't have what it took to get the job done, and I knew it, and my boss knew it, and everyone knew it. Well, what did you used to be good at? I asked quietly. When you used to look forward to going to work, which activities did you look forward to? At first, he said nothing. He just sat back in a sofa, staring at the ceiling. I thought he'd ignored me or couldn't be bothered to answer. Then, with a small smile, he looked at me and said, tutorials. I was really good at writing tutorials. I loved trying to pretend I was looking at a computer screen for the first time and I had no idea what to do, what button to press, what sequence to follow. I loved doing that. I loved writing really helpful tutorials. It was such a weirdly precise thing to say, yet he said it as if he'd never known it before that moment. He certainly hadn't known it 15 years ago, or at least he hadn't known it clearly enough to be able to remember it and hold on to it when he started to struggle and when noisy people told him that he didn't have what it took to succeed in his new position. He came to believe what everyone around him was telling him, that he didn't have it. Gradually and then suddenly, his confidence disappeared. One day, he couldn't put the key in the car door and drive to work. Obviously, I'm not saying that what happened to Micah will happen to you. I'm saying that life throws obstacles at you. Take responsibility now for figuring out what your core strengths are so that you can grab on tightly to them when things go awry. When you take a job that you never should have taken, when your boss doesn't understand you, when your company downsizes you, or when you start to question whether you have anything of value to offer. The memory of your strengths will hold you in place, reorient you, and show you the way forward. I love this story because I don't know about you, but I have been there. Being at a job where I feel like this is not working. Like, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, this is not fun. And this is not something I enjoy or that even feels fulfilling in any way. And sometimes it's difficult to pinpoint why you feel that way. You just know that I don't love this job. I don't like how I feel when I come to it. But digging deeper is what will kind of show you maybe you're at a job where you're not using your core strength. So it's taking a lot from you to actually show up and do the best you can. Yes, you're going to do your best because you are a conscientious person, hopefully, but then it's draining you, day after day, it's draining you. And I think a lot of people, and it doesn't really have to be just people who work a 9 to 5. You could have a business, and I've heard about this. You could have a business where it begins to feel like a cage. Maybe, yes, you're making money because that's what you set out to do, but it doesn't feed your soul. And after a while, you're like, I kind of hate this. But you created it. You created that situation for yourself, and now you don't love it. It might be because you're not using your strengths. And I know that this might sound like a romanticized version of life. Like, no, you just do what you can. Everybody just has to have a job. And that's true. But if you have the opportunity to rethink your job situation, to rethink your life as far as your work is concerned, I think you should do it. I think you really should do it. And it will start from you really paying attention to your strengths and figuring out what you're good at so that you can follow that path. All right. I hope this helps you somehow. I hope you got some insight from it. I certainly did. And I would love to hear from you. Do you have any books you really like? Any quotes or excerpts from that book that has changed your life, that really inspires and encourages you? I'd like to share with me. You can email me at thedrivenintrovert@shepack.com, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening to this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this conversation, please take a moment to follow or subscribe to the podcast. I'd also love your feedback on this episode. You can scroll down on your app and click write a review. I'd love to read your takeaways from this conversation. As always, don't forget to take courage, trust God, and go pursue your big ideas. See you next time. The Driven Introvert is produced by shepack.com and Remy Roy. Want to ask a question or share a comment on a future episode? Click on the link in the show notes to record your question in a voicemail.